Welcome to Lead Up, Leadership Gwinnett's podcast dedicated to showcasing initiatives that truly impact our community and the incredible leaders behind them. I'm your host, Logan Serrano, Director of Marketing and Communications for Leadership Gwinnett. Today, I have joining me Mason Ailstock, the President and CEO of Rowen Foundation, the nonprofit that's responsible for the planning and development of Rowen, which is a knowledge community aiming to be Georgia's hub for the intersection of business and innovation right here in Gwinnett County. Welcome, Mason.
Great to be with you. Thanks for the opportunity.
Well, Mason has a unique background. He was the COO of Research Triangle Park in North Carolina, and he's the past president of the Association of University Research Parks. So he's the perfect man for the job. He has nearly 20 years experience working with nonprofits, governments, and industries, and he has a track record of converging real estate, academia, and business to advance these communities of innovation. So in his current role, he's responsible for project leadership and operations, and he's presently immersed in the planning and visioning of Rowen. So we're delighted to have Mason joining us today on our podcast to share a bit about his story and this incredible project that's coming to our community. So Mason, can you tell us a bit about your journey from Research Triangle Park to Rowen Foundation, and maybe tell us a bit about some of those organizations that you're a part of?
Sure. No, well, again, thanks so much for the opportunity to join you and share the vision for Rowen, what it means for Gwinnett, what it means for Georgia, and ultimately, a place that we hope that will have an impact across the country, around the world, in doing good work and coming up with key innovations that we need to guide our future. So appreciate the opportunity. As you said, I've spent several decades in innovation work that's always been mission driven and place based. So thinking about how do we use our real estate to guide our education platforms, to guide the creation of new businesses. And I've had the privilege of serving as past president for the Association of University Research Parks, which is a global nonprofit association that brings together leaders in this field around mission-driven real estate. And that's always been an exceptional network to tap into, and a great group. And then I also had an opportunity, kind of as a part of Research Triangle Park, to go on an Eisenhower Fellowship to Sweden and Saudi Arabia and tap into this network of amazing leaders around the world in a variety of fields. And as I went on the fellowship, I had, was able to meet, corporations, universities, government leaders, members in the community, to understand how do these knowledge communities impact or have the potential to impact our shared future. And what does that look like? And that really just inspired me to say, how do we build on what we've done at Research Triangle Park? How do we grow and continue to build a network of people that share that conviction and share that commitment in order to do such a long-term project?
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. I think that's fantastic that that's also your passion and not only your career. So that's pretty incredible. So the burning question of the morning, what exactly is Rowen? Can you go into some detail of what it is?
Sure. And we'll keep it. I know when you try to explain a big idea, you can often use a lot of words. So I'll be concise as I can.
Yes.
That's right. So Rowen is a 2,000-acre development that will have parks and trails and open space, as well as laboratories, research space, office space. It's for everyone from global corporations to startups to community nonprofits. It's a community that will be highly programmed with innovation and technology events that bring together entrepreneurs, investors, researchers, and students to collaborate. So place-based, mission-driven, bringing people together, really to create, again, that shared future that's important to all of us in a variety of sectors.
Right. That's awesome. So it's for everyone. And there's even residential options, like living options there, which we'll get into, but that's pretty incredible. And what an amazing idea. So who's leading this project? And can you talk briefly about the development of the idea, how it came to be, and why Gwinnett County?
Sure. So the Rowen Foundation, our 501c4, is leading the project. The foundation owns the property, and we're responsible for all development and operations, so throughout. We work closely with Gwinnett County, with state leaders, to drive economic development and partnership activities and understand where do those connections bring the most value? How do we leverage each of our strengths in order to move our community and our state forward? The idea really grew from an early recognition by county leaders that an economic development project that's really at this scale and mission driven, modeled after a project like Research Triangle Park in North Carolina, was something that Georgia did not have. Those early leaders that, at the time led by Chairwoman Charlotte Nash and now working very closely with Chairwoman Hendrickson, really boldly advanced saying, what does the evolution of this idea look like? And that's ultimately what has become Rowen. Yeah. We remain in that ongoing constant communication with the county and building on that vision as Rowen evolves and comes to life. All of last year, we also brought together a group of leaders as a part of our Gwinnett Community Advisory Task Force to provide input into our visioning and planning for the project in an ongoing way. And it was a great diverse group of 18 folks that included, a variety of people. Valerie Cadet from PCOM, Tyler Yu from Georgia Gwinnett College, of course, Chairwoman Hendrickson, Commissioner Watkins, Santiago Marquez at the Latin American Association, as well as Representative Festration and Senator Merritt. It was just this great collective of elected officials, community leaders, industry leaders to help inform the idea of Rowen before we even have a shovel in the ground. It's how does this serve our community and how do we need to be thinking about it?
Yeah, I think that's really incredible. And I hear a lot of people's names who have been through our programs, which is super exciting as well, because I know these people know about their community. They know the needs and the challenges of the community. So it's just really incredible. And did you tell us why we chose Gwinnett County? I know, we're in relation close to Atlanta and Athens, and could you talk
So a lot of that early work and with Chairwoman Nash, and it was their leadership that really chose Gwinnett. Gwinnett chose Gwinnett, I would say. And then, as this idea started to gain traction, this is such a wonderful opportunity between Athens, Atlanta, Gainesville, the economic growth that this region has seen, the diversity, the international presence that Gwinnett has seen, just became I'd say obvious that it's not just that this is a big idea, but big ideas take ownership and conviction to move forward. And that conviction existed at the county and remains at the county to say, let's do something big, because why not us? Why not now as something that we can move forward together?
That's awesome. I love that. And talking a bit about the economic impact, what is the projected economic impact of Rowen? And can you talk a bit about the timeline, when we can start seeing some development and what the ultimate timeline looks like for Rowen?
Sure. Well, first of all, this is a long-term, multi-generational project. I say oftentimes I have 2 middle schoolers and I'm building Rowen for them and for their kids. This is a curated real estate development with programming and innovation and technology at its core that will take time to curate and build out. So when we think about the numbers in 2,000 acres, the numbers are significant, but they take that patience and to bring about. Real quickly, at 50%, a few numbers to share with folks. At 50% build out, we're projecting to be around 30 years out, to be creating around 55,000 jobs, have over 10 million square feet of development, and driving about $6.6 billion in economic activity across the state. Further out, if you look at what full build out would be, we could have as many as 80,000 jobs, 20 million square feet, and over $11 billion in economic activity. Again, those are numbers that we're talking decades, patience, and really a place like Rowen is always in a state of becoming, right? It's never really complete because it's always evolving itself based on what its partners are saying, how the community is changing, what the future workforce is looking for. So it should always really be thought of never being finished, right? It's a place that we're always reinventing and reimagining. For the timeline for development, right now we're really in pre-development, and you'd kind of alluded to that in the beginning. That means we're looking at the first phase of infrastructure design and working with our civil engineering team, and how this first phase of roads, utilities will be laid into the project. That'll be closer along to 316. We do anticipate breaking ground probably mid this year, mid 2022 on roads and utilities. So that's the horizontal development getting underway this year. Vertical development would begin in early 2024 and then really remain ongoing, into the future, working with our partners and recruiting companies to the site, as well as others that are in our medicine, agriculture, and environmental focus areas for recruitment.
It's awesome. Wow, it's happening fast. It's happening soon. So that's incredible.
Yeah, it's moving along.
That's awesome. So, talking about Rowen means second harvest, the name is that correct? So
that's right.
Some of the concerns, I guess, from the community is the land conservation. Can you talk a bit about how Rowen is leading the way in land conservation and being a good environmental steward?
Sure. And you're exactly right. I mean, I love the name Rowen. It was something we discovered almost at the last minute, right before the project went public, and this agricultural term that's about a second harvest. And that's at our core of our DNA and how we think about this, right? The land that Rowen is privileged to be the steward of started off with providing for families and communities generations before, right? And now this land is positioned to be able to provide for generations into the future through a new way of thinking about agriculture and the environment and medicine, and what does that look like. So the idea of a second harvest is really important to us, not just a term. From the beginning, we knew it was important to understand the land and what we were now responsible for, again, before development even started. So last year and even the year before, it took quite a while. We worked very closely with the University of Georgia on a land and natural resources report that looked at historical structures. It looked at the land, the topography, the plant life, and how all of the history of the land should inform our vision and our planning, so that we can not only preserve it, but we can incorporate it as something to showcase, right? Unique qualities that you can't find anywhere else. A trail along the Appalachian River that is almost 3 miles, I believe, of a border of the Rowen property. So that report was really helpful in us getting a handle on what we're responsible for. So that's at our core. That has recommendations that we are implementing now and will continue to implement with the county, that will create parks and trail systems, not just within Rowen, but will connect regionally and across county boundaries as well. So getting into Barrow County and thinking regionally about the environment and connectivity and open space. We're also, for the infrastructure, following site certification, which is applied by the U.S. Green Building Council. And folks may be familiar with that for LEED in energy and environmental design, yes, which is for vertical construction. Sites is their program for horizontal construction, so roads, utilities. And what that does is it puts us in a process with a third-party validator program where we're thinking about everything from native landscapes to stormwater management and erosion control, limiting the areas where we do disturb with the road. So we're not going to be going in there and cutting down all of the trees. Development will be surgery, not clear cutting, like a lot of folks may see in other places. This is really about how do we work with the topography, how do we work with the features and the history of the land to create in the areas that are out of the floodplain, that don't impact native species, and wonderful areas that are a part of the land, to make it a really unique place for people to come and work, but again, also to come and visit and walk and bring their families. That's another key piece, the site certification. And then the third one that I would mention is we have a set of design guidelines that cover the full 2,000 acres. So there's architectural expectations, there's planning standards that all reflect that environmental stewardship that we're putting on ourselves through things like the site certification process, setting that same expectation for others, developers and partners and companies that we'll be bringing in to say, this is the community we're creating. And if that interests you and you want to not only participate, but contribute to creating a place like this that is about the environment, that is about creating a community that thinks about the future and creates the future, then this is a place where we want you to call home. And if it's not, then there's other places for you. But for us, that's a priority.
That's awesome. I think that's fantastic. And it sounds like you guys are being the best stewards that you can of the environment in this situation. And I saw a video of Rowan, and a little snippet that stood out to me was, you guys want the hundreds-year-old oak trees to be an inspiration for the 25-year-old entrepreneur. And I think that was incredible. It's so true.
Very
And
much.
I love that there's going to be environmental spaces to explore and inspire the constituents. So that's fantastic. Thanks for sharing that. A question that came in from our listeners: what should small business owners know about Rowan, and how can their businesses be included in Rowan?
Uh, there's going to be many diverse opportunities for businesses to engage with Rowan over the months and many years ahead. We did recently publish our small minority and women-owned business enterprise statement. It's on our website, and that sets a goal for 30% participation across all of our contracting to include SMWBEs. So small business, local business, women-owned business, minority-owned business, that's a priority for us, not just in word, but we're setting that as a goal that we will be reporting out on and our progress and how we're doing in each of those categories, and working with other workforce development programs in the county and in the state where we see areas where there's opportunity for improvement or needed for additional support in different sectors to diversify the companies that could respond to potential business opportunities. How can we help support that as well? But that goal for us, again, is something where we want to say not just the words, that diversity and partnerships around the many business opportunities that will come about, but actually say that, we want to put numbers to it. We want to measure it. We want to track it. We want to report it. And we want to bring in others, because we also know we can't do that all on our own. And there's many people in the community that are also focused on diversity and workforce and business engagement to come alongside and work with us. For that, if folks are interested, on our website, rowenlife.com, the connect link that's in the upper right-hand corner has a drop down where companies of all types, whether it's a large company or it's a SMWBE, you can go in and register, fill in the industry sector that you're in, and then that comes to me, it comes to our team, and we have an ongoing database that we'll use as business opportunities come about. That's the list, in addition to posting it publicly and sharing it across many different publications, but we'll also send it out directly to those folks as well that spend time on the site. And then the last thing I'll say is we have a graphic around schedule. You'd asked about schedule for the development timeline. We're pre-development now, horizontal, and then get into vertical development. And the timeline, it's broken down by quarter, and it also includes, at a high level, the different types of business opportunities that people could expect. So if you're in property management, you're looking more towards 2024. If you're in grading and utility and design and civil engineering, that's a much more near-term opportunity. So that schedule maps out development, but also where you could think about yourself and being able to engage and look for opportunities to work with us growing.
Awesome. Where can we find that graphic? I'd love to send
It's
that. Is it on the website?
it's on the website, the rowenlife.com, and under connect, when you
Okay.
click on vendor, that the website's right, or the graphic is right there. Yeah.
Great. That's a really great resource. So it sounds like Rowan is super inclusive. I mean, everyone can utilize Rowan. So I love that. And I love
Absolutely.
that you're reporting out on these goals. You're holding yourselves accountable. It's not just words on paper. It's you're doing what you're saying you're doing. So
Yes.
Mason, we're flipping the script a bit. I want to ask you just a kind of more personal question. What do you think the world will look like in 50 years?
Gosh. I'm going to be much older, hopefully still around.
Right.
Yeah. Gosh, well, in 50 years, I think, through our work is often how we live our lives. And my hope through Rowan, and I think just generally, when I look 50 years out, I hope that we have created a place that is in a position to leave those that are coming behind us better off, right? That we've created something through our stewardship of our time and our resources that in 50 years, those generations are excited to inherit what we've created. And there's an understanding and and their own unique conviction for thinking about the future. And that we create a culture and a community, and how we communicate with each other, across borders, across cultures, across all types of things, that we're proud to be a part of. So I hope that's a part of 50 years from now. And I hope that Rowen has an opportunity to contribute to that. Again, it's a privilege to be in a position of service, to be a part of an organization like the Rowen Foundation, to be able to advance that as a part of how we operate and talk about our work.
I think that's incredible. And it's heartening to know that there's people out there that are putting in the effort and the thought into these processes to leave a better community for our kids and our grandkids, especially as a new mom. I mean, it's a totally new thing. I mean, I want those things more than ever for my kid and his kids and kids and kids to just have a better community than what, we have currently. So I think that's amazing. Final question here. How can community leaders support and engage with Rowen? I know you've given some ways that we can go on the website and look at some resources and connect with you guys, but is there anything else that community leaders can do to support and engage?
Probably two things that come to mind. The first is share the vision of Rowen with others in your network across the state, nationally, internationally. Become a proud ambassador of the project as Gwinnetians, as Georgians. This is, Rowen is here to serve the people of Gwinnett, to serve the people of Georgia, and own that, be proud of it. And I think that pride and that sharing of vision builds awareness. It builds an openness of communication and collaboration that I think makes communities really strong. So first I would say is share. And with being a multi-generational project, this is something that it's going to take hundreds, thousands of hands and minds and voices in order for it to continue to grow and evolve and become whatever we collectively as a community decide for it to be, and are able to build around an economic development initiative. So that's going to require that sharing. The other I would say is, join us, right? Join us as we launch our thought leadership programming over the coming year around medicine, agriculture, and the environment, which are our programmatic drivers. And we're connected with our universities and colleges, both in Gwinnett and across the state. Those will be open to the public. We'll be talking about the future of those sectors and how they impact us in our homes, how they impact us through our wallets in our communities, and what does that look like? So, join us for those conversations, contribute, participate online, join us in person. We'll also share them on social media as well. So we'd love for folks to join us in that, and, join us as we think creatively about reaching out and forming partnerships. I love ideas that surprise us because people think that they were impossible or too difficult at the beginning. Right. And those ideas are not going to come from me, certainly not all of them. And maybe, even those they involve other people. So folks will listen to this and they'll have an idea of a partnership or something we can build on and bring others together. But for that connection and that point of convergence of relationships, it wouldn't be possible.
Right.
But Rowen is a place where joining together, we can take those kinds of things on because we're bringing our best to create that future. Those would be the two that come to mind.
That's amazing. And that's such the spirit of what Leadership Gwinnett is in and of itself. I mean, we are here to educate, equip, and engage leaders and to inspire civic involvement, to teach people about the community, and then ultimately bring people together and get them excited about creating a better future for Gwinnett County. So thank you so much. We are all out of time for today. I just really appreciate you spending the morning with me, Mason, and giving our audience the chance to get to know you a little bit better and to give us the scoop on Rowen. What an exciting opportunity for Gwinnetians, Georgians, and humans alike. I think this is awesome. And so people listening, to learn more about Rowen, please visit rowenlife.com. There's a wonderful FAQ page on there as well with tons of information. We'll also send out some links on how to connect and follow Rowen on social media. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next Lead Up episode.
Great. Thanks so much.